rebels and brilliant Irish tunes, and the night was a bit hazy after that. It's got to be said, like, and that's probably for the best. Let's say that.
When in Rome, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was. People were very friendly. We'll say that, and so it was brilliant. And I think Connor had to pour me into a taxi about midnight and get me home. And what happened was, I was completely, because I'd been up at 4 a.m. to get the flight, and on the back of 4 hours kip before that. So I was absolutely knackered. 18 pints of Guinness doesn't help, obviously. And I'd come into his house, had the computer there, just turned the computer on to check everything. And then the next thing I knew, I woke up and I thought, Christ, I've dozed off in front of the computer, and it was like 7:30 a.m. So that was that. And then, so on the Sunday, myself and Connor were rough beyond belief. And his lovely girlfriend Mary cooked a fantastic fry, and met her mum and dad, and beautiful, nice people. And then we watched the documentary again with Connor and Connor's father-in-law, if you like, and he really enjoyed it as well, and that was good. And then Connor took me up to the school that Padraig Pearse had opened, sort of in the 8-10 years before the Easter Rising. And that was absolutely tremendous. You got a real insight to the character of Patrick Pearse and his brother Willie Pearse, and what they tried to do in terms of promoting the Irish identity, continuing the Irish language, and creating a need for education amongst their people to the end of, overthrowing the British and getting them out of the country. And I was watched a wee documentary about Pearse and went into his study and all that kind of thing, and it was awe-inspiring. It really was. It was. I dare say it. We just didn't seem to create people like this in Scotland. But
that's out in Rathfarnham, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. That's exactly what it is. And just that spirit of rebellion and revolution amongst these people, it warms the cockles of your heart. It really does, And it was just fantastic. I was blown away by that. We always myself and Connor always try and go to some kind of Republican plot or whatever it might be, and I would urge anybody to go there. It's free entry. And it's absolutely beautiful, and it's a great tribute to two good men, two good Republicans, Willie Pearse and Padraig Pearse, and a real insight into sort of how they went from being, teachers and scholars and people like that into standing in the GPO reading out a proclamation that would serve the people of Ireland, and absolutely brilliant. And went back 6:30 on Sunday night. One of the worst flights of my life, I've got to say, but that's another story. And so it was just another fantastic weekend.
Stuff. Is there any point in these sort of travels, Paul, where you pinch yourself and go, "Is this fucking happening?"
It's quite a lot actually. It's because you sort of, it's like, I always say that I think that if somebody looked at the last few years for me, they'd think I'd sat there and planned it out, and it just never happens like that. It never, ever happens like that. You just kind of go with the flow. And it's brilliant. I said at the end, it's like, for me to be standing in Dublin showing a film that I did, it was a real privilege, because Dublin is somewhere I have a real spiritual attachment to. Most of my family and ancestors come out of Dublin. And I always feel at home in Dublin, and that's kind of silly in the sense that because for saying that, but the reason is because of the people. It's the people like Connor and all that, and the people they just make you feel so welcome. And I just love the spirit of the Irish people. It's like they could be facing a tsunami and they'd just be like, "I could be grand, don't worry about it," And that's just. That country's been through hell and continues to go through hell with the water charges and things like that, and yet the spirit of people is still fantastic,
But then you mentioned that, Paul, people, sort of Ireland spawning people like that. Obviously, you're fucking your namesake. The Larkin name is synonymous with rebellion in Ireland, But that spirit of people is coming back in a big way.
Well, exactly, Joe. And I think if you still look at somebody like Robert Emmet, now his actual rebellion lasted a grand total of 45 minutes. 45 minutes before they were all captured, booming and arrested. Yet we all know him now. Why? Because when he went and stood in the dock, he says, "Don't write my epitaph until Ireland's free." And that is exactly what I'm talking about, that commitment. All the way through Irish history, people have stood up and says, "Nah, we're not having this, we're getting the British out kind of thing. And the last bastion of that is the people of the north of the island who are continuing to do that the last 30, 40 years. And that's the last part to go. And it just, to me, you can smell it in the air. You know, you can smell the revolution in the air. And it's like, unfortunately, the country at the minute is led by chancers and has been for a long time.
Shysters.
But, aye, I mean, absolute best criminals as far as I'm concerned. But I tell you, as you all know better than me, we're damn close to real people fighting for the people in government very soon.
And I said that to my wife 10 years ago. I said exactly Wednesday, if you're out and about in Dublin, 12 o'clock, Garden Remembrance, and marching to the Dáil to... and the thing is, right, you mentioned the North there as well. I said to my wife, we came back here in 2003 from America, so I kind of missed that Celtic Tiger push, which I'm very glad about. But I came back here in 2003 when it was at its fucking frenzy, and I was just stunned, like going, what the fuck is going on here? I said to my wife, I said, see this here? This is unsustainable. It's going to swallow itself. I said, and I guarantee you, it's going to take a party like Sinn Féin or a movement of the people to seize back the morals of the country and the ethics of the country. And that's exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've only got to, I mean, political for a minute, but you've only got to look at the campaign against Gerry Adams the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been absolutely relentless. And then, so they had all that stuff, you know, where he gets arrested for 4 days. And in that time, Bobby Storey, who's obviously a high-profile Republican, stands up and says, how dare they touch our leader? So what do they do? They arrest him for the same thing. Bobby Storey was 14-year-old at the time of this woman's disappearance. I mean, it's madness. But it's all done to destabilise Sinn Féin. The Irish Independents just got a weekly tirade against Gerry Adams. Yep. But the people are not listening to them anymore.
No, nobody cares. No. It's white noise at this stage.
Aye. And Sinn Féin's the biggest party in Ireland. I mean, they control Belfast, Dublin, Cork and Derry. I mean, what more do you want? And most importantly, they control these 4 big cities when the 100th anniversary of the Rising's about to come upon us.
Yeah, and the thing that I've noticed is, like, as much as they try to sort of point at the troubles and say, well, you know, this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. For so many years, people were willing to go, well, maybe you have a point. Maybe we shouldn't be backing people with these kind of sort of, you know, violent tendencies or this sort of response to oppression. Well, see now, they're going like, these are exactly the fucking people we want on our side. These are the people, like, everybody I meet's going like, you know, I don't fully agree with Sinn Féin, but they're the only people that I can trust to actually represent me the way I want to be represented. And then, of course, you know, you got Fine Gael, you got Labour bringing in, you know, these, obviously, they basically tried to pin child abuse on the Republican movement, and they slurred the name of Joe Cahill, which fucking absolutely upset me to no end, because Joe Cahill was one of my heroes. And that story lasted about 6 minutes, and it just disappeared from the internet because, you know, that man is held in such high regard. You know, I mean, obviously.
And I mean, you've got that wanker Enda Kenny fucking going on about Michael Collins almost every day. Now, I'm sorry, but there's absolutely no difference between Michael Collins and James Connolly or Bobby Sands or Mairead Farrell or anybody that stood up and fought for the Irish people. You know what I mean? But they'll try and distinguish it as, oh, well, Michael Collins, he's somehow different. No, he's not.
Michael Collins,
he was a member of the IRA just like the rest of them.
He slaughtered people as well.
Yeah, I mean, he fought a guerrilla war against the fucking British that brought them to the fucking negotiating table. So what's the difference exactly?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, people actually kind of believe that Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil were basically founded on the basis of some back Dave Valera and some back Collins. And, you know, when they talked about decommissioning and all that kind of thing, these people went into the Dáil with their guns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, but thankfully now the people are seeing through that kind of hypocrisy. And as far as I'm concerned, and you see it every day, every time the man opens his mouth, Gerry Adams is the greatest Irish leader of our generation.
But I'll tell you something else, the upcoming 100th anniversary, the uprising couldn't come at a worse time for the men in power.
The thing is, have you seen the video that the government? Obviously, we're going on a bit of a tangent here. Have you seen the video they released to celebrate the rising? Have you seen it?
Aye.
There's not one mention, not one fucking mention of anybody involved. Right now, you consider that the Ballymun flats were named after all of those people, right? And they're gone now, and the people of Ballymun hold those names in such high regard, right? And not one single mention. Like the video looked like a tourist video. Do you know who got a mention? Google and Facebook. Got a mention. You're going, what the fuck is going on here, right? But people are ways of the game, and the thing they're ways to, in my opinion, is politicking. They're ways to politic, and they're realizing like these people are sleeving. They want to try and they think they're smart enough and intelligent enough to negotiate around what you think you know, But like I said to you, Paul, as part of the Q&A on Saturday, we live in brand new times.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It
It's absolutely incredible. If you take yourself back 20 years and see how Sinn Féin and Republicans were treated, and now look at it, they couldn't even speak on the television.
Oh, Stephen Ray was the voice of Gerry Adams for years.
And now you see Adams, and if everybody wants a wake-up call, look at, the man just passed a year ago last week, Nelson Mandela, right? Mm-hmm. You look at his funeral, fucking Obama and David Cameron are sitting up in the fucking back stalls. Gerry Adams was sitting in the front fucking row.
He's a pallbearer.
It just, it's because the mindset is that kind of West Brit kind of tarnishing of them all. People aren't listening to these assholes like Kenny and Labour and all these muppets, you know what I mean? Because Sinn Féin have stood up, and even SDLP guys this last week in Lamar said to me, see, the reason Sinn Féin are doing so well in the South is because they're standing up for the people.
Yeah. And the thing is, they haven't just captured a wave of emotion. They have been the wave of emotion.
Yeah. Well, exactly, aye.
And people whenever I moved to America, throughout all my years, right, people always ask this, even down here, I still get the same questions when I work, what's your opinion on how things in the North went and the Troubles went? And the one thing I always go back to, the one line I always go back to, it's from the 86 book, Gerry Adams' book, The Politics of Socialism. And the one line that always sticks in my head that can silence anybody is he wrote in that book, he said, when you subject people to armed oppression, you can have no qualms when they respond with armed resistance. And that's it. That just settles it all for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. And the world has woken up to that, It was probably Bill Clinton that gave the first kind of real credibility to that kind of thing. And it's insane. But it is. It's just, and you see the people that, the results, the people are voting Sinn Féin, you know what I mean? And that might be, a kind of nemesis for some people in the country, but hell mend them, you know what I mean? The people who are oppressed. It's why continuously, I talk to Irish people and they say, they're sick to fucking death to hearing people like Geldof and Bono tell everybody about all the problems of the world. Right. Meanwhile, 100 miles up the road for their houses, people are being slaughtered on a daily basis.
Yeah, and then there's a homeless man dying on the steps of their house.
Well, it's shocking. I was absolutely shocking that.
Absolutely horrifying, you know what I mean? A girl found him twisted and contorted and blue and dead, not 50 metres from the steps of their house. And what happens a week later? Enda Kenny's out talking to the homeless. Pardon me if I'm fucking wrong, but weren't there homeless people there before when you got in power, you can't? You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of my face. And that fucking rancid bitch, Joan Burton, she can go and gargle my balls as well. Fuck's sake. Anyway, we're going to start fucking talking.
That was your political broadcast on behalf of Sinn Féin and the Republican movement.
Listen, we like to be partisan here, So what are we going to move on to next?
He's still running.
No, we're trying to tie it up before we all just start singing. We all just start singing "Iron the Vein" together. You know what I mean?
We're starting to tell your car and your trousers.
We'll tell the second. I just want to finish off with the Ashley thing. Paul. Obviously we left not long after. But was the response? Did you get much more response or get much more chat and interaction with people afterwards? Yeah. That
went on most of the night. It was fantastic. It was, we had a few people after it and stuff like that, and it was, at the end of the day, the interactions were so about getting out there, explaining the story, talking to people, just telling that, and people want to support you and say they're with you and stuff, and that's my Duracell batteries, Joe, and it was absolutely brilliant. And I say today in Dublin was really special for me, so a real warm bath moment.
I have to say, anybody, if you haven't seen this film and you haven't got it booked in, or you don't know where it's on, get in contact and get to see it because it is fantastic. And I gotta say, a big shout out to Jad Jusser because he knows how to make a film. And as I said, the Jad do all the camera work as well because it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because he really, it's the momentum and the emotion, everything just keeps going. You know what I mean? And that's why it flies past you in a second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And absolutely fantastic, Paul. Everything above and beyond what I expected it to be. To be honest with you. You know what I mean?
By the way, I just remembered the name of the band. Well, it's been prompted me that it's called the Irish Celts. That's the name of the band in Darky Kelly's. They're on Saturday, Sunday, every Thursday. And I tell you, they're absolutely fucking brilliant. They really are brilliant. They've done the Celtic Symphony, and there was a guy who was in his late 50s, was breakdancing to it. And that's the kind of night it was. You know what I mean? Fucking break dancing there, and then the top came off and all that. You know, just fantastic. Darky Kelly's in Dublin. You can't beat it.